We've all heard it. Someone tells a story about themselves with complete confidence, no hesitation, no exaggeration for effect. And you know something just isn't right. Not shaded, not polished. It's just wrong. The unsettling part is this. They're not trying to fool you. They genuinely believe what they're saying. It's not a modern habit. It's not rare. Psychologists, they've been studying it for decades. In 1957, American psychologist Leon Festinger, he described something called cognitive dissonance. That's the discomfort that people feel when their actions don't line up with how they see themselves. What he discovered was simple and quite uncomfortable. When that tension shows up, most people don't change their behavior. They change their story. In one well-known experiment, people were asked to lie about a boring task and say that it was enjoyable. Some people were paid $20. Other people were paid $1. The ones paid $20 knew they were lying. They had a reason. And the ones paid $1, they didn't. So instead of seeing themselves as dishonest, many of them convinced themselves the task was really fun. And they weren't pretending. They believed it. Their mind needed the story to make sense. The same process plays out in everyday life. Memory isn't a recording. It's a reconstruction. And each time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it. And it fills the gaps with details that fit who you believe you are now. That's why people can be absolutely certain about events that didn't happen the way that they remember. It's also why eyewitness testimony is proven unreliable. In the United States, roughly 7 out of 10 wrongful convictions later overturned by DNA involved eyewitnesses who were confident and sincere. And if you've seen My Cousin Vinny, you know what I'm talking about. They weren't lying. They were sure. There's another layer to this. Believing your own story actually makes you more convincing. Studies show that people who believe their version of events sounds calmer and more trustworthy. Their bodies don't show stress because, to them, there's no lie being told. From a survival standpoint, that made sense. Early humans who projected certainty were better at leading and persuading. A stable sense of self helped hold groups together, even when accuracy slipped a little bit. And that's why confronting someone like this rarely ever works. Facts feel like attacks. Evidence feels personal. You're not challenging information. You're challenging the story they live inside. And here's the part that most of us don't like admitting. This isn't just about other people. Almost everybody does this in very small ways. About decisions they made. About why things turned out the way they did. The difference isn't whether it happens, it's how far it goes. Some of the most convincing false stories in history weren't told by people trying to deceive. They were told by people who had already convinced themselves. Which leaves us with a responsibility. A responsibility to check our own stories once in a while. To ask whether confidence is coming from truth or comfort. And to remember that being sure doesn't always mean being right. These are Interesting Things with JC.